All right, so this is our Etch-a-Sketch project, and it plays tic-tac-toe. And the reason why we decided to create this is because we wanted to create something unique that we had never seen before, and we had the idea of using Etch-a-Sketch. So throughout discussions and everything, we ended up deciding on making a tic-tac-toe game on an Etch-a-Sketch, and it had a few challenges along the way. But overall, we really achieved our goals that we had set out to do. And the one major setback we had was alignment of our motors. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we discuss parts. All right, so going through the different components that we used to create this. One of the main and most important things going on here is, of course, the Etch-a-Sketch board, which is attached to two stepper motors, one on each knob, and they control the X and the Y directions of our cursor. And so they actually work because each step of the motor turns the knob 1.8 degrees, or it moves it by that much. And so that's actually how we are drawing our shapes and our boards. We tell it how many steps to take, and we figure that out by creating a grid out on paper and then eventually converting that into code. And so our code is actually fed in through an Arduino in the back, which has also all of our wiring back here as well. And then for our code, I think Carlos will talk a little bit about how we did that.
All right, so for the Arduino code, we use the Arduino IDE. It's just the main software used to program Arduinos. And for the GUI, we used processing. At first, we started using MATLAB, but we had a series of problems communicating from MATLAB to the Arduino IDE. So we scrapped that idea and moved over to processing, which uses Java to do most of this programming. And I was able to find a library called Control P5, which is a graphic user interface library in processing, which allowed me to add buttons, add images, and overall create the GUI that we used for the final design. And for milestone 3, we decided to develop an app using Xcode. The reason we chose Xcode was because we went through the iOS route, and Xcode is the platform for development for Apple. And in Xcode, you have to use Swift, so that was another obstacle we had to overcome. We used Swift, and learning Swift was a long process. And after learning Swift, we also had to implement a Bluetooth framework. Luckily, Apple has its own Bluetooth library, so it made things a little bit easier. And we hooked up the Bluetooth using the TIC-TAC-HM10 module, which is a BLE device, Bluetooth Low Energy, which is the device required from Apple to connect via Bluetooth from an application to such microcontroller like an Arduino. All right, so this is the GUI that we created using processing, which uses Java as a programming language. Once we click start, it will send a signal to the Arduino to draw the game board on the Etch-a-Sketch. Now that the game board has been drawn, the two players can start playing tic-tac-toe. Player 1 will be the X's, player 2 will be the O's. So let's start with player 1, choosing box 1 as the X. After I click the GUI, it should show an X on the Etch-a-Sketch being drawn by the motors. Now it's player 2's turn. Box 2 will be an O, a pixelated O. All right, now player 1 will go. Player 2's turn. Now player 1 will win by choosing box 7 on the game board. Player 1 wins, and it should be displayed on the LCD screen at the bottom of the Etch-a-Sketch.